Hello again. Good day. Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. Hope you're all doing well. It's another beautiful day. Here enjoying it out in nature a bit and trying my hand at utilizing great weather, good vibes to my advantage. So we cut on the camera and let it do what it do. If you are joining your boy Omega McBride for the first time, thank you. You all can hear the sirens, which is a confirmation for me that I'm supposed to be recording this video. If you are joining Omega McBride's A Midwest Mindset for the first time, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Do like the video. It does help for my videos to hit whichever algorithm may be best aligned for the subject matter at hand. So you will be greatly appreciated to also subscribe. We're gonna do our best to get to at least 1,000 subscribers by the year 2023. We'll see what happens, you know. If you are returning, I'll say it again, if you are returning to my channel and watching this next episode of A Midwest Mindset, you are also greatly appreciated. Thank you for being here and for watching. Today's video is called Tell Them Thank You. Who is them? Really doesn't matter. It's really about being in a space of gratitude. You know, gratitude meaning being thankful and appreciative of it all. You know, imagine a teacher's in the classroom. True story. Teachers in the classroom. There's a student athlete sitting at the table at the desk, and maybe tossing up a ball, hitting it off the wall, and students got on, their uniform, shorts, jersey, whatnot, and teacher notices that the student's knee is bleeding. All right. So he's looking, the student is, chilling, not even really doing anything. Could have been, could have been a little scrape. Could have been anything, but he notices that it's not only bleeding, but it's, it's kind of like dripping down the leg, right? So he tells the student, hey, bro, your leg is bleeding. The student looks down, he's, oh man, all right, cool, let me run to the bathroom. Yeah, go handle that, rinse it off, do the, teacher says, make sure you got your soap in your hand, tosses some hand sanitizer, bet, go to the bathroom, cleans it off. Probably wasn't until, he went and evaluated the situation that had occurred, which afflicted or wounded his leg, that he had to, wipe it off. May have been a scrape, felt a little pain as he, cleaned it up. Got it together, came back in the classroom, all good. May have asked for a Band-Aid or not, moved forward. Okay. What's interesting, as that pertains to, hey, forget student says, hey, thank you, appreciate you. who knows how the bloody situation began. However, it was there, noticed, acknowledged, went to the bathroom, bam, addressed the pain, made sure it wasn't too bad, came back, avoided perhaps what could have been a sticky situation. In the words of Drake, right? You know how sticky it get. Shout out, salute to Champagne Pop. So, imagine, all right, student comes back, you know, thank you, moving forward, you know, he may have a bit of more affection or gratitude for the instruction or instructor or teacher or coach or whatnot for that, but wasn't the point. Point was, hey, bet, saw something needed to be done, unaddressed, XYZ, student saw it, bam, got it, looked at it, did what needed to be done, let's get back on track, bam, I'm better, woo. What's interesting in life, I'm learning, between my situation in the sense of living life each and every day and experiencing things on my own and seeing others experience life as well, is that oftentimes a person can be carrying hurt or having been hurt rather, and whether it's known or unknown as to what occurred, sometimes it can show in other ways outside of what was actually done to a person. If it's not acknowledged or even known to be acknowledged. So here's what I mean. So let's say, you know, whether it's a friend or family member or, you know, to a person, or even just a person by themselves. And, you know, a person may have a certain disposition or, you know, may be, you know, upset every time a person, you know, brings up a certain situation or asks them a certain kind of question, or, you know, it could be, you know, something in the sense that, you know, a person's in a relationship and, you know, when things seem to get perhaps too vulnerable or too close, you know, someone may go ghost, you know. And although these may be signs of something not being right, somewhat of, you know, the student with the cut or with the bleeding and the teacher sees something's not right, it's not always fact that even if something seems not right, that the person who may be being perceived or seen or even experienced, you know, is aware of what's not right or what's wrong or what needs to be fixed. And what's interesting about hurt is that, you know, hurt is to inflict, when you look at it as the definitions, right? To inflict or to, you know, to compromise, you know, to wound, right? And, you know, a lot, especially if you clicked on this video, either you've experienced hurt or may have hurt someone else at some point. You know, we've all had our instances where we were on one side of the spectrum, whether it was intentional or unintentional. You know, but the interesting thing about hurt is that, you know, if it's not acknowledged, then that prevents a person from addressing the pain that the hurt may cause. So for instance, what's the difference, hurt and pain? So, seen as different in the sense of, when the student had a bloody leg, he had been inflicted, he had been wounded, but because it hadn't been addressed, or rather it hadn't been acknowledged, no pain was addressed. Being, had the teacher perhaps not said anything, he may have seen it eventually, but at that particular time, so that no infection, no further, wound, and he doesn't rub it against something and, open up whatever little cut is there. He had to go and address he had to acknowledge the hurt that he had been inflicted or afflicted, whichever one. Somebody put down in the comments whichever one it should have been, afflicted or inflicted. But that he had been wounded. He had to acknowledge that he had been wounded, all right? And in order to go to the bathroom and address, the sticky situation or the pain, which again, may have been just a little scrape or something, but in real life, it's wise to acknowledge whatever hurt may have happened. I'm learning, particularly even in my life, that it's important to evaluate, especially yourself, what this life has come with, in order to address, how it may have, what would you say, how it may have, played a part in the evolution of a person, or certain decisions being made. Certain people, have been hurt by, not just a relationship, before you get in relationships or before you meet friends, what do you have? Parents and siblings, so, there are, instances where, people have been spoken to, a certain way, and they have been afflicted, they have been wounded, they're hurt, they've been hurt, and because that hurt hasn't been acknowledged in a way, whereas, the person who is even attached to it, is addressed in a certain way. Or maybe, in some instances, there are some people who have acknowledged the hurt, and, and even at the same time, after you have acknowledging the hurt, you have addressing the pain that the hurt caused. And there's certain instances where, some people are able to, address that pain and, sit with it and heal and not continue to do perhaps what was done to them to others. And then there are other times where there's some who, they are aware that they've been hurt, and they stop there, with that hurt, and don't address the pain, because whatever hurt them or whomever it was, and perhaps sometimes it's like at whatever time or point in their lives, that hurt was so deep that another choice was made. So it's like instead of addressing the pain, I'm gonna hold on to the hurt, and so that's toxic. I'm a firm believer that I'll make another video about this. If you're still watching this video, please like the video if you have not, and subscribe. All right, we're trying to get to at least 1,000 subscribers by 2023. Let's see what it do. you all will also like me to address any topics or speak about something of interest specifically to you or your particular situation, feel free to drop that in the comments. But I'm a firm believer that, they say hurt people, right? However, as I just described, there are instances where there are those who acknowledge that hurt and whom it may be attached to, and then they take that time to address the pain. And when you take that time to address the pain, it opens up an opportunity for healing for yourself and even those involved who may be of interest, to do the same. Not everyone is interested in healing, which segues back to, there are those who stop at having been hurt and see it as having been so deep that it's not worth addressing the pain, because then that will lead, as they may see it, to suffering, which is wallowing in that pain and not moving outside of that realm, toward a more healing and happy, genuine, authentically, oftentimes higher spiritually placed space within their hearts. So when a person stops at that hurt and perceives it as having been so deep that addressing the pain isn't worth it because it will lead them to suffering, and for them that would be hell, that's toxic. And so that, opposed to a person who would acknowledge the hurt, address the pain, and open themselves up for an experience of healing, that makes the saying hurt people false, because not everyone who gets hurt hurts another person. However, it makes more sense in the realm of reality, that it's not that hurt people, toxic people do. Toxic people hurt people, and toxic people are the ones who refuse to address the pain. That's whether they're the ones who hurt someone or even someone has hurt them. We're all human. So, the interesting thing, about this, and you all stick with me, along this journey, there'll be some things that I'm sure, may be able to, perhaps guide and direct some of you all through some situations that either you may be currently dealing with, have dealt with in the past, or maybe even may be approached with in the future. So there are, instances where the hurt is of a caliber where a person feels as if they can't do it by themselves. And so if there's no one around and they perhaps, lack either a community or a higher power or something of that nature, then it's interesting because nobody knows. Nobody knows necessarily unless a person decides to open up, or has a trusted relationship with someone, or friendship where they feel as they can open up about, whatever hurt they're dealing with. Not everybody feels as if they can, address it in a healthy way. And some people address it in ways where other people end up hurt. So toxic people, hurt people. And whether it's the person who acknowledges that a wound has occurred, to you, if you may be, you know, living life in a certain way that may be a reflection of having been hurt. You know, if you are the person that someone says, hey, you know, that may want to, you know, look at this, or you may want to, you know, acknowledge something, or hey, you know, what's going on with this or that and third. Or if it happens to be the person who is responsible for the hurt, the pain that it caused, or the suffering that may have been experienced, or maybe being experienced in somewhere or another now, or where they may be responsible for, or you may see them as responsible for being in a space of anxiety or depression over what may happen in the future due to something in the past. Tell them thank you. It's all a setup. You know, in this life, if everything was going one way, although sometimes we feel like we were wanting to do that, more than likely it'd make it boring. Some people may say, I'll accept the boring life over what I'm going through. And perhaps you're right, but I say it's a setup because the intention is to grow us up to a place where we become the person we're supposed to be. And so if you're watching this video, tell them thank you. Thank you for watching. Continue courageously.